Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's chamber check-in time, and today I get to help share the story of LDK Ventures, and I've got the Vice President of Development with us today, Srini Nukala. Hi, Srini.
Hey, Paul. Good morning.
Thanks for carving out some time with me Tuesday morning.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm looking forward to our conversation and help sharing the LDK story, and more importantly, your background and your team's background. But first, I get to thank our series sponsor for these check-ins, Srini. It's Delta Dental of Idaho. And when you and I first met at the leadership conference this year, you came up to me and said, "Hey, you're the Delta Dental guy." And I thought that was so cool. And I was like, okay, this is working, these stories to share. But Delta Dental, Srini, as you know, they not only provide high quality dental insurance benefits to Idahoans, but they're educating the businesses and individuals the importance of dental health. It drives overall body health as well. And their investment in this community, this broader community, is unparalleled. So thank you, Delta Dental, for your continued partnership on this program and nonprofits across the state. With that, I'm going to share a fun factoid from their Tooth Truth series. Here we go.
Did you know that teeth are the hardest substance in the human body? I did.
That's cool. I like that one, Srini. So, hey, I love these check-ins. We talk about our member stories and the people behind them. So why don't we just dive right in? Why don't you tell us a little bit about LDK and what the real estate development company and investment company is all about, kind of its origin story first.
Yeah, the founder for LDK is Larry Kelly. It's a family-run business. Larry and Denton Kelly. Denton is Larry's son, and a few select partners, Jay, Alan, and Frank, and their capacities, individual capacities. Um, LDK Ventures was formally established around 2012. Previous to that, the partners have been together for anywhere from 20 to 25 years, have known each other for that long. And Larry used to work for a US Homes, which is now acquired by Lennar. And he used to be the head of the department for land acquisition for US Homes. And they got an opportunity to do some development on McClellan Air Force Base. And eventually they bought the Air Force Base, and it's a 3,000-acre master developer for the project. And so they own that Air Force Base now. It's renamed as the McClellan Business Park. So since then, they have worked on like Stanford Ranch, which is another master plan community. I think there is 3 to 4,000 residential lots, schools that have been developed, and so in 2012, it kind of made sense that they came together with the partners and formed LDK Ventures, which kind of does Class A industrial warehouses, built to suit, spec development, as well as multifamily development, podium style, garden style, townhomes, and mixed use. An example is the Sacramento Rail Yards. We own about 240 acres in the rail yards, historic downtown in Sacramento, and they're converting these old buildings into music venues. There is a couple land lots that they are building podium style apartment complexes. For example, one apartment complex named AJ sits on 2.89 acres, about 345 unit apartment complex on podium style, has retail underneath, parking underneath, and very close to downtown Sacramento. So that's how LDK has started.
So headquartered in
Sacramento, McClellan. Yep.
okay. And then recently, there's been some developments here in the Treasure Valley.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us why LDK chose Boise, and then when did LDK enter into this market?
Yeah. So LDK, they have been predominantly Northern California developer. They have worked in Vacaville, Sacramento, all of the California, and it kind of made logical sense to eventually expand. And during the pandemic, Denton and Larry, they were going to different markets to explore and identify opportunities. Some of them being Salt Lake City, Reno, Nevada, Denver, Colorado, Boise, Idaho, and eventually they kind of settled on Boise, Idaho. There is an immense growth potential. There is immense quality of workers. Not to say other areas don't have, but there is a huge potential for worker quality, which is required for development projects
Yep.
and the labor market and the room for growth and the expansion that is required. So we kind of identified Boise as a next expansion. So we don't look at other areas to acquire assets or projects. We focus on one single market, expand, grow it, and develop. So that has been it's been a logical choice choosing Boise, especially the pandemic and the current political climate accelerated their decision to select Boise. And since then, we have purchased the old Shopko building in October 2020, about that time frame, and it was renamed to Boise Logistics Center. Uh, Fortunately, we have found a long-term tenant in who is AZAC Timber Tech out of the Midwest, and we have a 15-year signed lease, and they're putting in a huge capital expenditure to develop that building, and they are progressing, and they hope to be operational by March 2022. So in the next few months, and they should that building is going to serve as the production, distribution, manufacturing facility for the West Coast for the company. So that was the first project acquisition for LDK coming into the Treasure Valley market. And since then, we have about acquired 200 acres of industrial land in Nampa, Canyon County, and very strategic land parcels. We have 140 acres rail served on Northside Boulevard, 2 to 3 minutes access from the I-84 highway. And we also have about 42 acres south of the interstate, the newly developed interchange exit 35 near the old sugar beet factory. And we have a lot of dirt that is being moved on that land to be able to develop. So in terms of numbers, it's about 800,000 cubic yards, about $5 million worth of just hauling off material. It is the old beet tailings that needed to be removed to be able to develop that land. So, and then there we have 20 acres on Madison Road, again 2 to 3 minutes from the interstate, where we will be developing 345,000 square feet of spec buildings. So we break ground in March next year, and they're about a 12-month construction time frame for each project. So, and we are staggering the construction of these projects. First one to break ground is Madison. Second is the Shannon Drive. We have broken it into 3 phases. Phase 1 is about 270,000 square feet building that has the frontage just on the I-84. So it's a huge development in that area. And we also have about 40 acres that we are under contract with the plan to build about 550 units multifamily project, garden style and townhomes in Meridian off of 10 Mile Exit. So those are our current projects. And our business model is to acquire land, entitle it, develop it, and lease it or sale, depending upon what the market circumstances are, and then keep repeating it. So,
well, you speak very clearly and educated on the projects that are currently here, and I'm excited to watch those, come to fruition, as well as the multifamily projects, because that is so important and critical right now, as we are a growing community and people need places, they need roofs over their heads. And so thanks for creating that effort and strategic plan to work on those spaces. It's so important. You, Srini, let's talk about you a little bit. when and how did you get to the Boise market? I mean, I looked at your LinkedIn prior and just kind of looking at all the education and certifications and the continued education. I think you're in an MBA program currently right now, Purdue, Bachelor of Science, and hardworking and approachable guy. LDK is very, very lucky to have you, Srini. So why don't you give us a little background on how you got to Boise?
No, absolutely. It's mutual. LDK and myself. It was a connection of personalities and growth mindset and the vision, and the personalities matched between the partners and myself, and that was a great thing for me to look at a company before I joined. I came to the U.S. in 2009, got a master's at Purdue in civil engineering, and after that, I started working for a general contractor involved in heavy industrial projects. So I was involved in a decommissioned nuclear plant in Wisconsin, built a coke battery for U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh, built a air quality control system for an existing power plant in South Dakota, and built a substation in New Jersey. And decided to change employers, and at that point went to work for another general contractor, where I was involved in managing large warehouses, predominantly Amazon. So something that I kind of pride myself that many people associate myself with is I was in charge of building the Amazon in Nampa, Idaho. So I built a few of them. And then I also was part of a lithium ion car battery plant construction in Georgia for a South Korean manufacturer and company. So those have been my extensive projects in terms of the construction background that I had. And in between all these projects, I picked up a professional engineer license just to have. And like you said, I'm in school for my MBA. Always wanted to do an MBA and figured this is the right time. And I'm actually done with my first year and continuing on to my second year. Hope to graduate by end of 2022. So that's been my background. I actually went through all of the visa process, came in as a student visa, turned into an employer-sponsored work visa, a green card, and then a couple of years ago became a citizen. So went through the full process. Thank you. Yep. So yeah, I've always wanted to be on the developer and owner role, and having a construction background provides a unique skill set to understand how the construction works and how we can mitigate or value engineer costs and save costs on a development project. So it kind of was very organic in what I was looking for as an end role of developer and owner, and it was a great fit between LDK and myself, and thankful for that.
Well, so how did you get to Boise?
So when I came in town to build the Amazon in Nampa, my wife and I have been talking about settling in some place, and we had our kid here, born at St. Luke's in Boise, and my wife traveled with me for 7 years. I've lived in 10 states in 10 years.
Wow.
And she we had an agreement where she would travel with me just to help the relationship. And there would come a time when she would recognize that, hey, you need to stop traveling. And that was last year. So we purchased a place in Middleton and settled down, and we decided to call Idaho home. So we have a daughter that we are raising in Idaho, and that's where we want to raise our kids. So
Wow. That's so cool, Srini. Um, we have such a diverse membership here as well, with developers all the way to the nonprofits, and then I'm so glad that you're a part of our chamber. And then we want to thank you for participating on our Boise Valley Economic Partnership Board as well. I think that's super important with your line of work.
no, absolutely. So one of the things that we recognize is partnering with the stakeholders. It's not just like one single entity. There's a lot of stakeholders involved. I truly believe that brokers and the brokerage community are the lifeblood for the developers. They bring in the land deals, they bring in the tenants, the leads, and also the general contractors such as McElwain Construction and ESI. Very good friends with those two companies, and also work with like financing companies, banks, um, title companies. So there is a lot of stakeholders that I have been meeting and building the relationship. And one of the roles with LDK for me is to manage all of the development efforts in Idaho. And part of that is also to market LDK, educate the market about LDK brand, what we can do. And specifically this upcoming year, what we are most excited about and looking forward to is execution of the projects to prove what we are and showcase what we can do. To that will basically solidify our establishment in Idaho and create more opportunities for the future. So that's what we are most excited about.
You know how to do it, Srini. That's exactly how you do it. You build those relationships, execute with excellence, inspect what you expect, and that's how business is done in Idaho.
No, absolutely. And Idaho so far has been nothing but great. And I think I've mentioned to you before, like before settling in Idaho, I made an entire Excel spreadsheet of pros and cons of wanting to settle in Idaho. And the only thing that was a con, for lack of better words, was us being far from our family. My wife's
Yeah.
family is from Pittsburgh, but other than that, excellent school systems, excellent people, growth opportunities, you name it. I mean, you are very familiar. It's the same kind of theme in all of the chamber check-ins that you guys have. A lot of the companies that are local in Idaho expanding, or the entrepreneurs starting companies. That's basically the common theme on why they choose Boise and Idaho. So, and that's one of the reasons we chose Boise as well.
Okay. Well, I've been so excited for this opportunity to share the LDK story. More importantly, your story, your team. Tell us a little bit about your team that may be here, and tell me about their community passion. Uh,
Yep.
yeah.
So Larry Kelly, who is the founder, he has been involved in different master plan communities. Stanford Ranch and McClellan Business Park were like the two largest master plan communities that he has been responsible for. And Denton Kelly, he is the managing principal. He manages the company day-to-day activities right now. And along with him, there are three other partners. Alan Hirsch, he is the construction and entitlement. Um, segment, and Frank Myers, he is the CFO, so he manages all of the finance HR functions for the company. And Jay Hecken Lively, he is the general counsel, so he's a lawyer by trade, and he manages all of our transactions and legal matters. So as a core group, basically they cover finance, legal, and construction. So it's a very cohesive group that they have formed and established, and they know each other very well for the last 20, 25 years or even more, from what I have learned. And one of the biggest skill sets that LDK has developed is the brownfield developments, developing land that had environmental issues, or um, McClellan Business Park actually had a lot of environmental issues that from what I have learned, they have had 10 to 15 years to work through environmental issues to develop. So they still have about 3 to 400 acres that are still need to be developed within the 3,000 acre land that McLean Business Park encompasses. So, and we also have recently hired Trey Grundlock at the same time as I did. And he comes with an extensive background in the development, in the office, retail. He's very meticulous, very thorough, very detail oriented. So there is something that is going right, and Larry has established that culture. And for a development company, for a smaller development company, having that much of a tenure and attracting and keeping the talent is very key. And that's one of the things that was very fascinating for me when I accepted to join LDK. And with this group, so I'm the only one in Idaho, and pretty much everyone else is in California. But I have all of their resources. They jump on the call every day. Denton and Trey, they visit Idaho pretty much on a monthly basis. So they're very involved. And if I need any help, I'm a phone call away. So I've never had I never had an instance where I was left alone by myself. So I always had help. I always had the resources. I always had the backing from the team, and all of the collective experience and expertise is very valuable, and it helps the entitlement process that we are currently navigating on a couple of our land acquisition projects. So, and City of Nampa is very business friendly, and they have been very great to work with so far. So it's a very welcoming change from working in California to working in Nampa and Boise. So
Again,
it's
another
a very
great,
pleasant experience.
yeah, another great reason to,
Yep.
expand and grow here. For the listeners, I have ldkventures.com scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I encourage you to take a couple minutes and look at their website. Check out some of their projects. They're really cool. I love how that LDK sees value not only in dirt but in distressed property as well, and to turn that into some of these urban
Mixed,
mixed
use,
use
yep.
projects. It's really cool. So Srini, thanks again for your investment in us and for thinking about Boise to grow and achieve those goals that we all as Idahoans want. We want a great place that we can live, work, and play in.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend, Srini. Say hi to the wife and congratulations on your little girl. And I'll see you up on the slopes.
Thank you, Paul. Take care now.